Well, it is time to rise and shine. It is Groundhog Day. Today, Punxsutawney Phil emerged from his burrow to let us know if we can expect spring early or have 6 more weeks of winter. So, drum roll. Phil saw his shadow. He's predicting 6 more weeks of winter. Hey there, friends. Good morning. Glad to have you here with us on Up with KREM. I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Channing Curtis. I'm good with more winter.
Are you okay with that?
I'm totally good with it. I just bought new ski gear, so I needed to stay cold
Channing's
for a
like,
while.
I want some more snow.
Yep.
Well, we are going to be talking much more about Groundhog Day a little bit later in the show, but my goodness, Jeremy, it really is feeling like winter this morning, that's for sure.
Especially since we're going to have 6 more weeks of it. What do you think, meteorologist Jeremy Legoo? More winter on the way?
Yeah, of course. Look at how cool the sunrise is.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
I know. I stepped outside and went, ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. It's pretty. It's a gorgeous start to the day. It's just a bit cooler. We are down at 17 with a wind chill of 6 here in Spokane. 6, as in just 6 by itself. 11 in Coeur d'Alene, 10 in Sandpoint, and I really think this is kind of as cold as we get. Clouds are kind of moving in. It's going to keep us from cooling down too much more, so that's about where we stop. 18 in Moses Lake, and there's the cloud cover, and look, a little bit of snow already making it over. We're going to get a push of that a little later in the day. This thing's moving quite a bit faster than what we anticipated, so I think that quick shot of snow arrives after you get home from work tonight. That's the way I'm going to look at this. That comes in, it moves out by tomorrow morning. All said and done, I think we get about an inch pretty widespread, a little less than that here in town. But the big story here for me is the colder temperatures. We're going from being in the upper 30s for a few days to topping out in the mid 20s. That's below freezing all day long. So we go from the teens to the mid 20s under cloudy skies. It's going to have a feeling a lot more like winter today than it has been recently. Over the course of the next few days, though, we warm up and warm up quite nicely. In fact, by the time we get into the weekend, we're talking much more widespread snow and ice melt across the region.
The Spokane County prosecutor is apologizing to the community after his wife posted racist comments online. Now, the Inlander first reported this last week. Larry Haskell's wife, Leslie, called a black woman a racial slur and proclaimed herself a white nationalist. KREM 2's Nicole Hernandez is at the Spokane County Courthouse with more on how the prosecutor is responding to his wife's comments.
The Spokane County prosecutor works right here in the Spokane County Courthouse, and this is not the first time Larry Haskell has had to address his wife's racist comments. So take a look here. This is a look at Leslie Haskell's social media page. This is on Gab, a popular site for conservatives. She commented on an article titled, quote, "Conservatives would trade tax cuts to openly say the N-word." Her comment said MSNBC host Joy Reid was, quote, "the true definition of the N-word." She actually wrote out that slur, and in other posts, Leslie also talks about being a white nationalist. Larry Haskell did release a statement. He said, quote, "people that know me fully understand those are not my views. I do not tolerate racial bias or disparate treatment of any kind, as proven by my words, deeds, and treatment of others during my tenure as prosecutor." Now, the Spokane Human Rights Commissioner says this statement isn't enough.
He's got to address this in a more non-lawyer-like manner. How about being a human, Larry? How about addressing the fact that your community here is hurting because of your wife's statements?
Larry Haskell is up for re-election this year. If you're interested in reading his full statement, you can go to KREM.com. In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
I believe this bill will strike a much-needed, balanced approach that provides our law enforcement the tools they need to keep our community safe, while retaining the important principles of police accountability that were passed last year.
Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward testified before the Law and Justice Legislative Committee yesterday. She testified in support of a Senate bill that will revert the standard for law enforcement, making a stop to use reasonable suspicion rather than probable cause. Mayor Woodward says she thinks the bill would provide a clear definition of use of force and the ability to use reasonable force when someone is suspected of having a dangerous weapon.
It is time now for your morning rush. More news in less time. The man accused and arrested for a South Hill shooting last week was supposed to appear in court yesterday, but didn't show up. The court scheduled 65-year-old Gary Cottrell for an arraignment. He is the suspect who allegedly shot someone in the face after he was confronted slashing tires. His counsel told the judge Cottrell was not able to make it for medical reasons. The judge rescheduled the arraignment for 1 week from today.
It was just some random thing. It's not a hate crime or anything like that. It doesn't anything related to that, but except just, a stray bullet.
On a shooting near Best Asian Market, manager Tom Chu says he wants customers to know they shouldn't be afraid and says that the shooting was not targeted and that the area is safe. Happening today, former Newport police officer Raul Lopez will be in court. Lopez was booked into the Bonner County Jail on charges of sexually abusing a child last week. He previously worked as a school resource officer at the Newport Unified School District. The Idaho State Legislature passed the largest tax relief bill in the state's history, and it's now headed to the governor's desk for his signature. The Senate approved $600 million in tax cuts to Idahoans. It will consolidate the state income tax brackets down to 4, so anyone with a taxable income over $5,000 a year will be in the top bracket. To have a taxable income of $5,000 or more in 2021, a married couple filing jointly would have earned just over $30,000. And that's a look at your morning rush.
Governor Inslee deployed the National Guard to support medical staffs across the state, including at Providence Sacred Heart. Since January 21st, 19 National Guard members have helped Sacred Heart caregivers in the emergency department and with COVID testing. The Providence chief executive says the hospital has seen a record number of over 100 COVID patients this week. National Guard members have stepped up in non-clinical roles and have helped with COVID contact tracing. Governor Inslee sent the National Guard to 8 medical centers in Washington. The Providence chief executive says the National Guard has helped relieve some of the mental and physical exhaustion of their caregivers.
Having the Guard here frees up a clinical staff person to be able to go back and take care of patients or do their other duties as they would typically do. So that's how helpful this really is for us.
The National Guard is scheduled to leave Sacred Heart February 19th. Despite seeing an increase in the number of COVID patients, the hospital says there are no plans to extend the National Guard service.
It was like a lightning bolt hit and everybody was, I've been there, I saw that, I shopped there as a kid, I went to the House of Draperies, I owned the House of Draperies.
To believe a 60-foot mural could be a secret for almost 100 years, but it happened to a couple in Okanagan. And your wake-up call. Happy Groundhog Day. Punxsutawney Phil has made his prediction. The iconic groundhog saw his shadow, meaning 6 more weeks of winter. So clearly he saw Jeremy's forecast, right? Are you rooting for more winter or an early spring? Text us at the number 509-448-2000 or use the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media.
But first, here's a live look outside at the sunrise on this Wednesday morning. Look how beautiful this is. Good morning to you, Inland Northwest. And hey, thanks so much for starting your morning with us here on Up with KREM. We have more news, more weather, and a lot more fun still to come.